you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
As a master of rhythm and movement, explaining that every step and punch from Tank has purpose. Jake, he added, lacks the awareness and precision to survive at that level. Showbiz, the adult, also discussed Davis's personality outside the ring. He said Tank doesn't need to
difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind, you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no. Nah, that ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Effect on someone as big as Jake. Still, Davis's precision and experience could allow him to adapt and outsmart the Sizz. Boxing experts agree that Jake Paul has little chance of lasting against Gervonta Davis. Shakur Stevenson explained that even though Jake has a major size advantage, it won't be enough to beat a fighter as skilled as Tank. He believes Davis's timing, precision, and experience would control the entire fight. According to Stevenson, Tank wouldn't need to chase a knockout. He would simply
emotionally see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach them too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Mario Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgardner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3-minute, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgardner. Not really known for having great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgardner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgardner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra, and then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Talk much. His calm confidence speaks for itself. When Tank faces his opponents, his composure shows he's not intimidated. While Jake relies heavily on media promotion, Tank's presence alone commands respect. Some analysts, however, cautioned fans to stay realistic. They noted that weight classes exist for a reason, and Tank's strength at lightweight might not carry the same effect against someone as large as Jake. a fighter moving up from 135 pounds to face an opponent near 190 pounds faces major challenge.
The face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon. And the
face
of boxing is basically... Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate. Okay, it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about this.
It's discussed whether Tank's famous knockout power would still work against a much heavier opponent. While his punches can stop fighters his own size, they might not have the same outbox Jake and win clearly on points. Showbiz the Adult also pointed out that Tank has already proven he can handle taller and stronger opponents, like Ryan Garcia. He reminded fans that Ryan was fast and explosive, yet Tank still figured him out and won convincingly. Showbiz argued that if Tank could close the distance against Ryan, a trained boxer, then Jake would be no different. He said boxing isn't just about size. It's about control, timing, and intelligence in the ring, all areas where Tank has the edge. Chris Algieri praised Davis for bringing excitement back to boxing. He said Tank's fights always create buzz because fans know they'll see skill and power on display. He also noted that Jake Paul, in his own way, has done something similar, drawing new fans to the sport. Both men, according to Algieri, have helped make boxing more visible again by attracting very different audiences. Charleston White took a harder stance, saying Jake's career so far has been more about entertainment than real competition.
I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang!
Challenges in reach, power, and durability. Still, Jake Paul's involvement in boxing has sparked attention. Some see his fights as stunts, while others view them as entertainment that brings new life to the sport. Love him or not, Jake keeps people watching, and that keeps boxing relevant. British boxer Dave Allen offered a balanced view, saying he wasn't a fan of Jake's earlier fights, but believes
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Believes Jake has yet to face a top-level professional who could truly test his ability. White said that if Jake ever steps into the ring with someone like Davis, fans will finally see the difference between a real fighter and a showman. Davis's training, timing, and experience would quickly expose Jake's limitations. Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas compared a potential Jake versus Davis matchup to when Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather. He said Jake might have the physical edge.
We want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Dog.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro, if you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30-pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
As a master of rhythm and movement, explaining that every step and punch from Tank has purpose. Jake, he added, lacks the awareness and precision to survive at that level. Showbiz the Adult also discussed Davis's personality outside the ring. He said Tank doesn't need to talk much. His calm confidence speaks for itself. When Tank faces his opponents, his composure shows he's not intimidated. While Jake relies heavily on media promotion, Tank's presence alone commands respect. Some analysts, however,
people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oh, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Entertaining as long as it's handled safely. He said that even if Jake isn't an elite boxer, his fights create conversations that help the sport grow. Reports show that Gervonta Davis has mentioned Jake Paul several times in the past, teasing the idea of a future fight. Now that talks have become more serious, both sides appear ready to prove something. Davis wants to expose Jake's weaknesses, while Jake sees
exhibition. The thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, and you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight, I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10, 11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard. I think he trains hard. And I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time?
Why is not having a rematch for the fight they got a draw with? Why is not fighting?
Boxing experts agree that Jake Paul has little chance of lasting against Gervonta Davis. Shakur Stevenson explained that even though Jake has a major size advantage, it won't be enough to beat a fighter as skilled as Tank. He believes Davis's timing, precision, and experience would control the entire fight. According to Stevenson,
yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beat his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer. OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his
level professional who could truly test his ability. White said that if Jake ever steps into the ring with someone like Davis, fans will finally see the difference between a real fighter and a showman. Davis's training, timing, and experience would quickly expose Jake's limitations. Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas compared a potential Jake versus Davis matchup to when Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather. He said Jake might have the physical edge, but Tank's ring...
Because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta is even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd. But he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals. And when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say, what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake